to my platform. Welcome everyone. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. And I give thanks and honor and glory to the Lord for letting me see this beautiful day, y'all. I wanted to come on briefly just to say, stay in the fight. And staying in the fight is a meaning behind everything. Not the physical fight, but the spiritual fight and the mental fight. You know, we deal with so much each and every day in our lives, you know. And sometimes it's the mental capacity that we fight so hard to stay strong. We fight so hard to change the ways that is not pleasing to us. We fight so hard sometimes to get along with people. We fight so hard just to struggle and keep our head above water. Because as we look around, we know prices is going up, things are going up, but our money and our paychecks are not going up. So we have to strategize and figure out some things, how to pay different things and put this off and make arrangements and so on and so forth. And I have been looking at the housing crisis, how the housing is steady going up, you know. The land is steady going up. Everything is going up. And it's not going to get easier. But we have to stay in the fight. We have to stay in the fight, figure out some things, strategize, especially those who want, you know, a peace of mind, for those who want to accomplish their goals, for those who want to buy a home or property. We have to stay in the fight. When all else fails, when all the doors are shut, when they stamp denied, just keep going. Because every door that shuts, every denial letter saying you don't qualify, you don't qualify for this, or you don't qualify for that, you've been denied and you've been turned down, it's okay. Because you have to look at it in a way. If you get denied or turned down for something that you wanted so bad, just remember that may not be the plan that God has for you, or that may not be the car that God has for you, that might not be the house or the husband that God has for you. So I often say that things happen for a reason. And God knows best. He knows what's best for us. He knows our plans. It's not always the enemy. You know, God blocks some things to protect us. God set us up in a way for a bigger blessing. So when things are not coming together, stay in the fight. Because God has a blessing with your name on it, and can't nobody take it away. Can't nobody deny it. Can't nobody approve it. You know, it's just all God's doing. And sometimes we get so upset that we don't understand why doors keep shutting in our face Why is our income getting smaller? Why is this happening? Why this sickness had to come on me? Why I had to get a divorce? You know, it's a lot of things that happen in our life and we don't understand. But know that God understands. And He knows what's best for us. Even at that time when we're going through, we don't see it and it appears complicated. It appears that we don't have no way out. It appears that, hey, we're doomed. And I heard someone say, when it looks like that, begin to give God a praise and start thanking Him. And just like Joyce Meyer said, I was watching her the other day, she said, if you keep your eyes on your problems, then it won't get better. She said, but once you stop questioning God, why is this happening to me? Why is that happening to me? And start thanking Him. And say, Lord, I thank You for what You're doing today. She said, turn that around. I'm not saying it like she said it, but I received what she said. And she said, start thinking positive and start thanking God for going through the things. And I thought about when she said that, turn it around and start thanking God, because that's what the enemy wants us to do, to keep our minds and our eyes focused on the bad things, the things that's going around in this world, the things that's happening in this world, the things that's happening in our life, the situations and the problems. See, that's what the enemy wants us to do. Focus on things that are not good. He wants us to stay weary. I said this to one of my friends this morning, and I said, have you prayed about it? She said, yes. I said, if you prayed about it, don't worry. Or why worry? If you don't pray about something, why worry? My mother used to tell me that all the time. She said, Vicky, if you're going to pray about something, let it go and don't worry. But if you're going to pick that thing back up and start carrying it with you and worrying about it, why pray? She said, because you're doing it for naught. It's just a hit and a miss. If you're going to pray about it, then you're going to pick it up and carry that burden right back with you. You are defeating yourself. So I asked my friend, I say, have you prayed? She said, yes. I say, so if you have prayed, why worry? And she stopped and paused. She said, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. And I say, yes, it makes plenty of sense. I say, I had to think about it too when my mom used to tell me, well, if you're going to pray about it, why worry? If you're going to worry, then don't pray. So I think about a lot of things that I was taught growing up. And you don't realize at the time when you're being taught a lot of things, you may think that it's being cruel. Or I would look at my mom and dad and they would say things to me back then that totally make no sense at all. But as I get older and I reflect back on the things that were said to me, some of the things, and I pull them out and I tell people about them, and I tell my son about it. And now it makes sense. Now it comes together. But when you're younger, you don't want to hear it. And you think they don't know what they're talking about. It doesn't make sense. Blase, blase. And you think you're at a point that you know it all. Until you get into a fight. Until you get into a tight situation. go. And I say, pray until something happens. Pray until the walls come down in your life. Pray until something happens. That means stay in the fight and pray. Pray until something happens. Because I'm a firm believer in prayer. Prayer has gotten me out of many difficult situations when I thought it wasn't no way at all. I thought this was it. I'm gone. I'm checking up out of here. But prayer came through. God came through. And He answered my prayer. So don't give up. Stay in the fight. And I'm going to tell you this last true story, and it's about me. I remember when I was on my deathbed. Yes, my death sick bed. So the doctors walked in there and told my husband, and this sounds like a Bible verse, a Bible story, but it was my story, and it's a true story. So the doctor walked in there and said to my husband, prepare her funeral because she won't be here long. He said she would be lucky if she make it through the night. So he said okay, but they was thinking that I was so sick. But you know, a sick person is still here. They might not be able to talk or respond, but a sick person can still hear. So hear, but while I was listening and could not respond, I began to pray in my spirit and rebuke them. Yes, I rebuked them. I said, it's not over until God says it's over. And God had given me a scripture that night. The scripture was, you should live and not die, but declare the works of the Lord. And I believe that's Psalms 117, verse 18. I'll never forget that when the Lord came to me and said those words to me. He said, you should live and not die, but declare the works of the Lord. So I don't know who that scripture is for, but I carried that scripture in my heart. I'm telling you, and I still carry that scripture in my heart today. You know, many people, affliction will come back on them. You know, the enemies will still say, you know, let her rest. Let her rest. I'll let it go because the prayers had whooped the enemy down. But, you know, just he would bring probably cancer back up on somebody for the second time, the third time, the fourth time. And then prayers start going up. And all of a sudden, he has to take his hands off of them. Because the prayers, the virtuous prayers of the righteousness availeth much. So the enemy has to step back, has to flee, has to run, because prayer warriors have came on the scene and overwhelmed heaven and bombarded heaven with all the prayers that the enemy can't stand it, so he has to step back and flee. Like my old friend used to say, Sister William, that enemy has to stick his tail up on the ducktail and run. That's what she used to say. And that particular night, when the Lord said, you should live and not die, but declare the works of the Lord, and I'll never forget this. It was an old Caucasian man stepped in my room with a white jacket and one of them white bags, black bags. It was a black bag, not a white bag. It was a black bag. And he had right? And he walked out. He walked out. He didn't walk through the door, he walked out. So when he walked out, I believe the real nurses and doctors came in. And I say, who was that just went out of my room? And they looked. See, they thought I was going crazy. And I say, yeah, and I start describing him. I say, he had a white long jacket and he was dressed in black. Black slacks and black shoes, a black old bag, and he wore glasses. They say, nobody has been in your room. We're the first ones that have stepped in here. And I just fell back. And I couldn't hardly talk or speak anyway. It was low pitch. And I started crying. Tears began to run down my eyes. Not crying because of fear, but rejoicing and crying because I knew that was a miracle. And I knew that was God. When he stood there, he never did examine me. He just stood there and looked at me. And he had like a glow on him. And he told me, he said, you're going to be all right. And he just turned around and walked out. So it's miracles like that. And I believe that was in 2008. And when that happened, from that day to this day, God still has his hands on me. From that day to this day, never been that sick before, and I give God all the glory. And yes, there have been plagues. When I say plague, I mean COVID. And that's just like a plague to me. COVID attacked my body. And you know how people was dying off it because of COVID. But I was assured that God still had his hands on me. And I say, God, I thank you for looking over me, for watching me. And I know I had to endure the pain. I knew that I had to go through the process of having COVID. You talking about body aches? Oh, wow. You talking about chills and the whole 9 yards. All that was going on, but I still had my trust in the Lord that I will make it through. And he already said to me that I should live and not die, but declare the works of the Lord. So this was not too long ago, this year. It might have been last year, 2022 or 2023 at the beginning, whenever I had COVID. And I said, Lord, I don't want to never have that stuff again. And I made it through by the grace of God. So that's why I say stay in the fight, Stay focused. Stay in the fight. And I'm thinking about how God has blessed me down through the years, over and over and over and over again. Over and over and over again. And just remember, you guys, that this is a test. Whatever you're going through, stay in the fight, because it's just a test to see if you're going to endure or give up. But stay in the fight. I can go on and on and on to my destination. But y'all stay in the fight and enjoy life. I always say, I have a shirt. Live life. A life will live you. Live life. A life will live you. So, all right, y'all have a beautiful Sunday. Bye-bye.